learned that in 5th grade when Aunt Lori had sorted a pile of Ava's paintings right into the garbage can. Anyway, she'd get around to cleaning up back here someday. And until then, it was always an adventure. Her eye fell on the ladder sticking out from behind a stack of large blank canvases she had yet to find a use for. Maybe she'd grab a couple of those while she was at it. They might look artistic leaning against the ladder. "What do you think happened to her?" The voice carried from the dressing stalls, locking Ava in place. "A fire?" She couldn't tell if the speaker was Emma or Emily. "I think so." The other girl's voice was quieter but still reached Ava. "My mom said she was supposed to be a model or something." "Wow." You would never be able to tell. Ava closed her eyes, allowing herself a slow count of 5. She'd heard worse, and it wasn't like the girls were trying to hurt her. They thought she was up front, and they were only being honest. "Wouldn't you just want to die if that happened to you?" "Emma!" Emily's voice scolded around a half-laugh. "Sorry, but you know what I mean. She's never going to have a boyfriend or anything." "I heard she used to date one of the Calvano brothers in high school." "Ew, which one?" "They're all so hot." "Ew!" Emily made a retching sound. "They're old, Emma." "Not that old. The youngest was in my sister's class, and she's only 20. Well, I can't remember which one she dated, but I guess he totally ghosted her after." Ava's swallow sliced her throat as she backed out of the room, letting the girls' voices fade. "Joseph," she wanted to say. He was the Calvano brother she'd dated. But she pressed her lips together and silently moved back into the studio. There she forced herself to pick up her camera, to double-check the ISO and the aperture, to shoot a test picture and check the white balance. Forced herself, when Emma and Emily returned in their new outfits, to smile and nod and take pictures that would highlight their unmarred beauty. Forced herself, when they were done, to hold her head high and say goodbye as they draped themselves over the boys who had come to pick them up. Forced herself, as she locked the studio door, to remember that she had chosen this, that she had been the one to do the ghosting, not him. Not that it mattered. If she hadn't pushed him away, he would have run, and she wouldn't have blamed him. Chapter 2. It was finally happening. Joseph sat in his car staring at the low brick building where he'd gotten his first job when he was 14. He'd had to beg Dr. Gallagher for weeks for that job. But finally the old vet had taken pity on him and let him help with cleaning kennels. From there he'd worked his way up to checking in patients and then assisting the vet with minor procedures. When Joseph had graduated high school, Dr. Gallagher had promised that if Joseph studied to become a vet, he would sell him the practice one day. And now, after 8 grueling years of school, River Falls Veterinary was his. "Holy smokes," he whispered to himself. What if, after all this time, he didn't have what it took? What if he ran the practice Dr. Gallagher had spent 40 years building right into the ground? Something cold and wet pressed to his cheek, and he laughed, patting his Samoyed's soft white ears. The dog was just what he needed to keep himself grounded. "You're right, Tasha. God's got this. What are we waiting for?" He opened his car door, patting the roof. He'd been driving the thing for a decade, and he hadn't been sure it'd get him home from Cornell, but it had. Of course, with the loan he'd just signed to buy the practice, this old rust bucket was going to have to get him through for a while longer. Tasha zoomed past him, her nose instantly to the ground. Joseph wondered how many dogs had walked through the doors of this building over the years. He pulled out his keychain and grabbed the key that had been on it for less than an hour, taking a deep breath as he turned it in the lock. This was it. He pushed the door open and stepped over the threshold into the next chapter of his life. Inside, everything was exactly the way Joseph remembered it, right down to the magazines and the racks and the paw-shaped treat bowl on the counter. Dr. Gallagher had even left the hideous paintings of cats in tuxedos. "Maybe we can replace those," Joseph muttered to Tasha. And he knew exactly who he wanted to paint the replacement pictures, assuming she would give him the time of day. But for now, he had work to do.